Every day, across Kenya, we pass infrastructure meant to change lives. Roads, rail, housing, but sometimes they don't deliver as promised. Behind these outcomes is a hidden cost. When those risks go unseen, the consequences show up later. In delayed projects, in rising costs, in outcomes that fall short. Kenya loses over 600 billion shillings to stalled and mismanaged infrastructure projects. So the question becomes, what if we could see these risks earlier? Before decisions are locked in, before resources are committed. To answer this, Transparency International Kenya used the Infrastructure Corruption Risk Assessment tool, ICRAT, to take a closer look at how infrastructure projects are selected and where things begin to go wrong. ICRAT is a participatory process. It brings together data, experts, and stakeholders to identify risks, score vulnerabilities, and recommend practical actions. A practical tool that helps ask the right questions, identify red flags, and assess vulnerabilities before they become costly failures. ICRAT looks at both the system and the project itself. Using the ICRAT tool, 3 major infrastructure projects in Kenya were assessed: the Standard Gauge Railway, the Kiambu Civil Servants Housing Scheme, and the Vihiga Affordable Housing Project. For the Standard Gauge Railway, the risks were assessed to be very high, decisions shaped by limited transparency, contracts not fully open to public scrutiny, and financing structures that raised long-term concerns and rising national debt. This shows the need for stronger transparency, clear oversight, and accountability from the start. For the Kiambu Civil Servants Housing Scheme, the risks were moderately high: conflicts of interest in procurement, gaps between allocated budgets and actual spending, lack of adequate public participation. Across all 3, the same pattern emerged: weak transparency, limited accountability, and decisions made without enough public scrutiny. When these risks go unchecked, projects don't just fail on paper, they affect real lives: higher taxes, growing public debt, and infrastructure that doesn't serve the people it was built for. And in Vihiga, key documents were missing: inadequate feasibility studies, lack of proper environmental assessments, alongside limited public participation. Here, the risk was not only in execution, but in moving forward without a solid foundation. Across all 3 projects, a pattern emerges: limited transparency, weak accountability, and decisions made without enough public scrutiny. Through the ICRAT tool, citizens, stakeholders, and oversight institutions are able to spot red flags early, ensuring that issues are addressed before they compromise project quality, timelines, and public trust. When risks are identified early, resources are better protected, and projects are more likely to deliver value for money and long-term impact to the people.